Tonight on The Breakdown, new All Black Du'Plessis Kirifi beams in from Sydney. Marshy catches up with his Wallaby nemesis, George Gregan. And the Farah Palmer captains go head-to-head before this weekend's final. Welcome into The Breakdown. Bernardine Oliver Kirby holding the fort and attempting to rally the rabble. Jeff will be back next week. But joining us tonight, Sir JK, Stephen Bates. Great to see you all.
What do you mean? Are we rebel now?
I
picked up on that as well. I wasn't going to say anything, but I did pick up on that, JK.
I sense it could go rogue anytime. Now, our All Blacks, they have touched down. 7,000 pieces of luggage. They're settled into their new digs, but not everybody is there. There are a few new additions to the wider All Black squad. Congratulations to Adi Savia with baby number 2 arriving. It is spring after all. But does that not pose some questions for Ian Foster and the coaching and selecting panel?
Totally. What interests me, Batesy, is that everyone's relaxed.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we've gone into the first couple of test matches, draw the first one, second one, really good. And now everyone's... I'm actually not relaxed because I do not trust, in the nicest way, Dave, I'm not having a go at you, I don't trust Dave Rennie. He's going to have something else up his sleeve, so I'm a little bit nervous.
What I think, if you actually look at that game, I think Australia learns more out of that game than the All Blacks learn. And you think about it, there's a couple of moments in that game that Australia didn't take, and if they did take, like the Adi Savia turnover right early on, and they do take those, all of a sudden it's a different game. So I still believe it's game on. Don't relax, but you have that same tension as you had after game 1, I believe.
So do you reckon the Aussies have got greater gains to make?
Yeah, I do, because I think, and for reasons other than just their game. If you look about the All Black system, yes, a new coach, but he's not totally new, is he? He's been there a long time. The systems are still the same. So they don't have to learn his new systems. You think about the Wallabies, they came in with a broom and brushed everything clean, didn't they? So they've got to start from scratch. So I believe their ceiling is their growth potential is higher at the moment.
And we are back to selection. That's what I like about it. Well, especially with Adi not being there. I mean, you know, we spoke about it. We speak about it all the time. I reckon there's a few positions in New Zealand that everyone just loves talking about. One of them's 9, and it goes back to, you know, are you in the Sid Going mould, or are you in the Andrew Donald mould? Are you an extra loose forward? You know, Marshy was an extra loose forward. You know, Smith's but number 8's the same. Batesy, you've been a number 8 all your life, and a lot of stuff that I hear around the traps is we need a specialist going into the next World Cup. Do you believe in that or not?
Yeah, I personally believe we do. And at the moment, I think we're almost, and you can see it over backs and forwards, we're almost trying to get the best 15 players on the park. Personally, I'm not sure that's the way to go. You've got 2 guys in Hoskins and also Akita that can break the game open. I'm not saying they've got to play the whole game, and Adi can as well, but I do like them in that number 8 position. But at the moment, I suppose it's going to be interesting to see where they go this weekend with Adi not there.
So 2-2, go for it, JK. You want to unleash.
I just want to see him out there. And I think what we saw with Caleb, and I want to see him out there because I think he is a specialist. I think he's got some X factor. But also, we need to get these guys out there. Whether you do it this week, and I read an article from Ian Foster who said, you know, he's been doing a good job for us off the bench, but I just want him to start because I think, well, we're 18 months away or 2 years away from a World Cup, and I want to see as many guys out there as I can. Now, Batesy, I don't know, you'll know better than me. Do you take the risk this week when the Bledisloe Cup's on the line?
But do you also include people like your Cullen Graces and your Dalton Papali'i? I mean, you know, how wide do you want to spread the net?
I just want to take one step back and just make sure you're not pushing his boat out because he's a Marist boy.
I am, mate. That's definitely the reason.
Because, I mean...
But as a number 8,
yeah,
you've got to say that this season he hasn't put a foot wrong.
Yeah, and he's played big minutes as well, and the growth. And to a certain degree, you look at the Aussies who they chucked in for their debutants in Wellington, they went all right, didn't they? You know, if you're good enough, which I believe he is, throw him out there, see what he can do. It's the only way you get experience, isn't it?
OK, so Ian Foster's going to name his squad on Thursday, but what are we expecting from Camp Rennie? Have they got as many options? Have they got as many avenues that they can go down to? Are they going to stick with their hard and fast?
That's a really good question. I have no idea, Bernie, to be fair, and I don't follow it as much as I do the New Zealand stuff. I don't think so.
But they don't have options, do they?
Well, I think what Dave will be doing is he'll be trying to get as many options as he can. So I think what he'll be trying to bring, and for reading between the lines, what I think he's doing is building a multifaceted game plan of which he's going to add bits to each week. So I'm expecting to see a little bit of change. What he was disappointed with against, in the last Test match was his defence. So you see them a lot steelier there. He might put a bit more emphasis on there. I don't think he's going to do a lot selection-wise, though, but I think we'll see some new stuff from...
I think it's a little bit of a balancing act for Rennes as well, because you think about it, this is their first Test at home under Dave Rennie. And yeah, they really well the first Test. Second Test, they were all right, not too bad. And they need to win back the love of their public, don't they? Because you could argue that they've lost it. So I don't think he'll be chucking Hail Marys all over the place. And I do think that he will really hone in those couple of things, those couple of breakdown areas that they missed out on, those couple of try-scoring opportunities that they missed. He will hone those so they don't miss them round 2.
Whitelock will be back, though.
Yep.
For us.
Doesn't
Moody's
help
out.
their line out.
Hang on, I thought we were talking fresh new start. We've got
Oh,
lots
yeah,
of new
sorry.
players there. All right, let's get back on track. Fozzie added a couple of extras into the touring team. A surprise call-up for both George Barr and Du'Plessis Kirifi. The latter admitted to having a little bit of a cry and his dad losing the plot when he was called into the AB squad for the Tri-Nations. Du'Plessis Kirifi, one of the hardest workers on the field, I reckon, full of passion. He is the skipper of the Lions and now a part of the All Black squad. Sounds pretty sweet, doesn't it? He joins us now. And how have the first few days in camp been for you?
It's been awesome, mate. It's, first of all, it's an amazing opportunity, but the boys will welcome me with open arms. I'm excited to make the most of the opportunity, put my best foot forward, but learn as much as possible while I'm here. And if I get a shot, that's amazing. But if I don't, that's also amazing. I'll help the boys get wins on Saturdays. You
get a lot of team issue in the All Blacks. What's that been like?
Yeah, Christmas came early for me. But in saying that, it's actually not my Christmas. All this kit's going to go to Dad and my brothers and uncles along the way. So, it's one of the things you look forward to, I guess, when you make new teams is the gear allocations. So, the wow factor wasn't lost on me, mate. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, besides the free kit, what else surprised you when you first got in the All Blacks?
To be honest, I wouldn't say a whole lot has surprised me. The All Blacks and I guess the organisation is the gold standard worldwide. So when you come in here, everyone's doing their job to the best of their ability. Nothing surprises me, mate. I expected a lot of detail. I expected a lot of honest conversations and feedback. People driving each other to be better. So I guess coming in and experiencing that pressure and stuff like that hasn't surprised me at all. From the outside in, that's what you see, and it's no different from the inside.
Now, you and Artie are great mates, and you're getting this opportunity because he's got a new bubby. What's he said to you?
Yeah, Artie and I are pretty close. He was one of the first to message me after I got the call, wishing me luck and just saying, I guess, all the best and saying, I deserve this opportunity. I've worked hard to be here, so when I come in, just come in with an open mind and try and learn as much as possible while I'm here. But yeah, he just said, enjoy it and be yourself. Be yourself, because if you aren't yourself, who will be?
What about your old man? What did he say to you?
The old man was pretty stoked. Took him a few minutes to come down from planet Jupiter, but when he came down, we had a pretty good chat. Pretty much the same thing that Artie said. He said, this opportunity's come for a reason, but doesn't mean you stop working now. You put your head down, put your hand up and work even harder. So pretty humbling advice from him. Dad's always one to keep me grounded. But yeah, he just wished me the best and told me to just keep working hard pretty much.
Well, I actually played against and with Jack, your old man. He was a bit of a hard hitter himself, actually, and he played for the Ponies. So my question is, mate, it's why are you at the Hurricanes? Why aren't you up here with the Ponies, or even Maris, better all, and the Blues, mate? What's going on?
Yeah, Dad played for Ponsonby, no easy ponies for a few years, back in the 80s, going into the 90s. I guess he ended up in New Plymouth just like any man ends up out of their hometown. He chased a beautiful woman down to New Plymouth, my mum. So that's where I was born, mate, and that's where I grew up for the most of my life, apart from a short stint in Samoa. So that's why I grew up in New Plymouth, and that's why I'm at the Hurricanes, mate.
Fozzie was on the show last week and talked about your work-ons. What has he said to you?
Yeah, Fozzie and I have obviously had a couple of chats since I've come into the environment, as well as Plum. And pretty much he's just said, keep doing what I'm doing. There's a reason I'm here, but it's, it's an opportunity for me to work on my decision-making at the ruck, not fighting loose causes, and just being physical on attack and defence. So really looking forward to, in the next couple of weeks, working on those areas with the boys.
Everybody has a theory on loose forward play. We've got a theory on most positions, but especially 7. How's that sort of scrutiny been lying on you, and how have you dealt with it?
Look, welcome to New Zealand, mate. Everyone's got an opinion on what should happen in the rugby circle, but I think it's awesome. The competition that I guess encompasses the 7 jersey, that open side flanker position, brings the best out of us as players, and obviously will bring the best out of New Zealand rugby. The guy that pulls on that 7 jersey come game day is the best and deserves to be there. So that competition's awesome, mate. It drives us all to be better as individuals. But yeah, it's not easy, obviously. The skipper's a 7, and we've got other quality 7s in and outside of the All Blacks environment. So for me, it's just about working hard and pushing them to be the best that they can be, so that I can also be the best that I can be.
Now, you're only human. Have you had a sneaky little peek at the draw and worked out when you might get to play? You can tell us.
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, it's look, the possibility of pulling on a black jersey for the first time, it's a dream come true. It's probably something that I can't quite understand yet. Probably can't put into words yet, but I guess if that opportunity came, it'll be amazing, and it'll mean a lot to me, but also I guess the people that have helped me get here. But yeah, I've looked at our itinerary, looked at the people that we're playing, but you hear it all the time, and I guess for me to stay grounded and stay in the moment, it's about focusing on day by days and the game that we have at hand. So look, if a game or an opportunity to play came along, it'll mean the world, but if not, hey, it also means the world to be here and be in this environment.
If you're named in the team, mate, will the Kirifi family be the first ones on the plane to Aussie?
Yeah, well, I don't know, I'm pretty sure Dad would hop on a plane, but it's that 2 weeks that you have to spend in isolation on the way back to New Zealand that might pull a few boys up. So you never know, but it's a pretty big occasion.
It is indeed, and all the very best for that. Du'Plessis Kirifi, thanks for your time, and enjoy every single moment. You can't help but really be pleased for him. He's earned it, hasn't he? He plays with such passion. He's absorbed that leadership role for the Lions, and he's just got the biggest ticker on the field.
And how refreshing. Like what a and not for the first time, but what a wonderful speaker he is, isn't he? You just want to listen to what he says, and you can see why he's such a good leader, because you sit there and you listen to him, and geez, he speaks well, doesn't he?
Oh, please, don't take that out of them, people.
Yeah.
No media training for him or for Caleb Clark. No.
Yeah.
And media, including us, if they make the odd gaffe, let's just let it ride. Because that was so neat to listen to.
Yeah.
Open, honest, answers your questions. I just think that's fantastic.
And post-match, you say refreshing, Batesy, and the post-match, quite often, if he's not happy with the way the team's played, he will tell you absolutely in no uncertain terms he's not happy with it.
Yeah, certainly. So, as you said, the way he interviews is brilliant. But I just have a real little plug for him. Is what I really enjoy about him is, I reckon, how many times, JK, would he have been told, you're too small to be a number 7? You know what I mean? The great thing about that is he's proved, and I don't know how many times, but I know from coaching myself, that's what he get labelled with. But I tell you what, look at some of the stuff he's putting together. So he's proved so many people wrong just with his attitude, his hard edge and his work ethic. And it's wonderful to see there's a place for small people in our game still.
Yeah, he probably gets told as many times as Damien McKenzie and Kevin Mialamu did.
Yeah.
But I think the interesting thing for me was when we asked Ian Foster, and this is a question for you, Batesy, about picking him instead of Lachlan Boshour. So what do you do when you miss out like that? What does Boshour do now? We know that Kirifi's in there because he's a hard-hitting guy. We want him to run hard. He's got to make better decisions over the ball. We know that. That's fantastic. But as a player now, do you try and be more physical if you're Lachlan Boshour? How do you try and get back in the team, or you just stick to your strengths? I don't know.
Well, I think if that's Lachlan's goal, to go to the ABs, he's got to look at that sort of constructive feedback and work that way and be more physical, because there's no doubting that he is the best over the ball in the whole country. There's no doubting that. But it's obviously other areas, his physicality, they need to bring maybe a bit of ball carrying and stuff like that. So work on those areas, keep what you're good at, work on those areas, and then let's see where you get to.
I tell you what, well, Waikato will be loving having him back because Liam Messon playing for Waikato as well. Mean. All right, our ABs, they're on the ground. So too is our Sky team. Justin Marshall will be calling the games for us. But if there's one person who's got as much chat as our Marshy, it's his Aussie counterpart, George Gregan. Evening, lads, or should I say g'day?
Yeah, thank you, Bernadine. Here with George Gregan. Not a bad backdrop that we're in. This is your backyard, isn't it?
It's not a bad part of the world, is it? The harbour, Sydney Harbour, all different aspects, mate. Bit of nature, bit of water, very good.
Hey, so Bledisloe Cup time, 2 test matches in New Zealand. But first of all, I wanted to ask you about your thoughts on the state of Australian rugby at the moment. You're a little outspoken, I guess, about it at the end of last year after the Rugby World Cup. There's been some administration changes, new coach. How do you think the game's going over here at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's trending and tracking in the right direction. I think you saw that with the first Test match result against the All Blacks in Wellington. It was a really spirited performance, and you can see Dave Rennie and the coaching group that he's assembled have really had a big impact on a really good young talented group with some talented players who have experience. There's always been talented players within Australian rugby. It's just a matter of making sure that they're all on the same page, we're pulling in the right direction, and there's good support for the national coach at all levels. I thought the way the Brumbies and the Reds played during Super Rugby AU was really, really impressive. So you've seen players picked on form with a winning habit going into the national setup, and Dave Rennie, as we know, history shows it doesn't matter if it's with the Waikato Chiefs, New Zealand under-20s when he won many, many world championships, and also when he went across and did a great job in Edinburgh. The guy knows how to transform teams and create a really good, attitude, belief. Buzzword is culture within the teams that he coaches, and I think we've seen that at early doors. Administration level, I think been really impressed by what Hamish McLennan's done. Trying to get everyone from, it's not just from the top down, but from the ground up as well, getting involved with the game and feeling passionate about what rugby means to this country, what it means to the people. So I think they're all simple things which they're the foundations of all good sports, and particularly rugby.
Did it surprise you, that first Test performance in New Zealand? Mate, were you thinking drop goal? Australia drop goal? And you've been in a Test match where a ball, when John Eales lined that one up and won in Wellington, and it came off the post, but there was still a chance for Australia? Yeah,
you're thinking it's easy when you're way back, not on the field. Like often when you're in an attacking mindset, both teams had the same option to drop in the pocket. I reckon if DC was on the field, he would have dropped in the pocket, or someone else may have. But it's easy in hindsight, but sometimes they're the experiences you need to go through, and I think it'll make both teams better. But it was such an epic Test match. Like 8-9 minutes after the bell, both teams are going for it, and I thought that was a really positive and a strong Test match in tough conditions. Like I knew the wind was swirling. Like you don't see Mackenzie and the back three dropping balls and running forward and can't even get a hand on it. That's how tough the conditions were.
Thought process and sort of moving forward, something that we like sticking our beaks in is talking about every other position apart from halfback.
Yes.
Big debate in New Zealand is about first five. Moanga or Barrett. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I spoke about it during the Rugby World Cup, and I know they wanted to persevere with that. 2 playmakers, different positions, but I do like it. I think 10 and 15, you've got those numbers on your back from set piece. Often Richie Moanga, or when Bowden plays 10, he's back fielding kicks, so it's part of that sort of counter-attack. They're probably not a back 3 attack, it's normally a back 5 attack when you play the All Blacks. They just want you to kick it back and they're ready to go. And so I think that plays out really nicely once you get past 1 or 2 phases, and you have options on either side of the ruck, or Bowden Barrett just floating around the back to make the second wave play, and Richie Moanga sometimes being that person where Bowden might play first receiver and then Richie's just playing out the back of that second pod. So I think you persevere. It's really hard because if you're defending that, you know the All Blacks are going to be able to cover 80-90% of the field just about all of the time with those 2 players on the field. Or if they get to the centre field, you might have Bowden on the left-hand side and you've got Richie on the right-hand side. It creates a lot of problems. So I understand why they're persevering, and I do like it. They're quality players, and they know how to play in all conditions, but particularly when they get some front foot ball, really, really dangerous.
No, I'm going to have to ask you then to maybe poke your nose into the halfback position. Nick White, we've been really impressed with him. He's a dangerous player. He wasn't getting Super Rugby starts, He's obviously been backed by Dave Rennie. Good selection, do you think?
I think it's a really good selection. He's a super competitor. Like most guys with number 9 on the back, really competitive. And he's oh, you're just a little bit. And he's really evolved his game over the years. I think his time away, he left after 2015, missed the Rugby World Cup squad for that year, had a massive game. It's a long time ago, but he had a massive game coming off the bench against the All Blacks in Sydney. Kicks goals from a long distance range, but it's really improved his running game, particularly at Exeter. They played a really up-tempo, the ball's a moving target, so it really suited him, and they asked the Nines to really challenge. So that's getting to that second and third defender, and I think all halfbacks, all good rounded halfbacks have that ability. Like Aaron Smith's, like he's the premier when it comes to just this beautiful laser pass, 20 metres, you want it wherever you want it, he's going to give it to you. But he's also, I think Aaron Smith's at his most dangerous too when he's running. And, you know, TJ Perinara, one of the great runners and a great support player. I think that's what he brings. He asks questions, and if you knock off on either side of the ruck around that second, third defender, he's gonna back himself, and that's probably been the biggest evolution in his game since he's returned to Australia.
Well, you played in an era where, you know, Australian rugby was at its very best, and that was on the foundation of a very good forward pack. This Australian forward pack, there's a few names in there that we weren't that familiar with. Yeah. But, man, they've fronted up, haven't they?
They certainly have fronted up, and it's not a cliche, it's a reality of our game. You tight five, like you live by the sword, die by your sword as a team, by the efforts they put in. They're often the unsung heroes. Set piece, line out, delivering good quality ball, then they work around the field at the contact areas. Those sort of things make a huge difference to how a team can find its cohesion, find its energy, find its rhythm. And that's what this Wallaby team has shown so far, and they need to continue to do it. But also set piece, like the scrum, I know there's always been that's a bit of a soft side of any Wallaby team. You just hear that all the time. But this is a strong squad. You know, James Slipper had a really good first 20-30 minutes of that Test match in Auckland, and really led by example. And then you got Scotty Seo coming on, so there's that experience. Then you got Taniela Tupou, and you got Alan Alatoa off the bench. So we've actually developed some really good front rowers, and obviously I've really liked what Lukan Solokai-Loto's done. It's been really, really impressive to see those guys blossom and get better with each Test match, but also have a real sense of experience with blokes. Well, James Slipper's close to his 100th Test match.
Well, George, you'll be really pleased that the Bledisloe Cup is alive and well as we arrive in Australia. The Test match this weekend is the pivotal one, isn't it, at ANZ Stadium? Can Australia get the job done and take it to that big one?
Well, you hope so. Like, you got to believe, and you got to dream big. And this Wallaby team, they'll be really disappointed with not being able to get at least one of the results over there in New Zealand. And particularly, I think that first half they missed a lot of tackles, and the All Blacks responded how you'd expect an All Black team to respond after, by their standards, a mediocre performance. They came really, really hard. They really attacked the basics, the fundamentals. They really asked questions defensively. They were really hard contact areas. The ball was moving. There's lots of pressure, lots of questions asked. Some young bloke called Caleb Clark made a pretty impressive impact on the Test match as well. So that's what they'll learn from, and there's always great learnings from every Test match that you play, but they would have taken that a lot out of that 20-point loss at Eden Park. And what I've liked about Dave Rennie, he points out some of the key areas which let them down. He did it in Wellington. He certainly did it in Auckland, and so they'll be really working on those things. That connection in defence, making sure you're doing all those really small things really, really well. Good communication, not dropping off. You need to do that 80+ minutes, as we saw in Wellington against the All Blacks. But they have enough potency. They have points in them. They have the ability to score points, which I really like about this Wallaby squad. So it's just a matter of getting the other side of the ball right. Make sure you're not missing 20 tackles or 40 tackles in total, because if you do that, the All Blacks are the best once they get in behind you. There's an offload game, there's speed, there's tempo, and there's just a relentless pressure coming at you.
Well, there you have it, panel. He's confident but not overconfident. He's got me slightly worried, actually. Thanks for joining us, mate. Back to you.
Pleasure, mate.
Good stuff. We look forward to the match and your calls, Becky and Marshy. That game, of course, live here on Sky with pre- and post-match analysis as well. Can't quite figure out whether they are about to go clubbing or auditioning for a boy band.
Well,
it's one or t'other.
What I was worried about is two halfbacks interviewing each other. I thought they would have taken up the whole show.
Like,
and then I was expecting him to push him in the tide. Why didn't he push him in the drink?
Look,
He should have pushed him in. It's a great opportunity.
Fair.
Don't tempt him. George Gregan was saying that, they need to get on the other side of the ball, and the stats would say that the All Blacks have lost 2 of the last 3 tests against Aussie in Aussie. Does that worry us?
Doesn't worry me. And the reason why it doesn't worry me, I'm not a big stats person.
Ooh.
The reason why I'm not a big stats person.
So don't bring the rest of these out there.
Yeah, I'm not a big stats person because I think that happened in the past.
Right.
You know what I mean? And just like he's talk about the Eden Park hoodoo, yeah, maybe there is something there, but at the same stage,
let it go.
I just believe, and I'm going to steal Dave Rennie, saying all that means is that victory we had against Australia last week. It just means the All Blacks are one more game closer to losing at Eden Park.
So Aaron Smith and Dane Coles, who were part of the losing team in 2015, the last time they lost in Sydney, forget about it.
I disagree. I think there's something else in there. I agree with the stats, but you're at home. You're at home.
I'll bring my stats back out then.
We often talk about, yeah.
Back on the table.
You're more comfortable. You know the hotel. You know the surroundings. You know the training park. You know your family's in the stand. Well, hopefully with COVID. But at the end of the day, I think you're more comfortable. I believe that it's worth a few percent, Batesy, and I think the Australians would have regrouped. They would have taken these. New Zealand had a week off. They've had a week off. They'll come back into this. They'll be better. I still don't think... I'm a little bit like George. You know, they'll need to be way better. I don't think they'll beat us, but they'll be better. And defensively, they will have to be. All right, just 4 days until we get our next Trans-Tasman rugby fix and see just how lethal the Aussies will be on their home soil, as JK says. But talking about lethal, some sensational tries in the Under-21 Super Club tournament. If you haven't caught it yet, the finals next week. Here's a taster. Welcome back to The Breakdown. Well, we've been lucky enough to get the Bledisloe Cup underway. The Northern Hemisphere, have you seen, has roared into life with Six Nations back. You can't say, though, that Italy are back. They were thumped. So was Wales in a warm-up game. Ireland with a 50-17 win over the Italians, and no joy for Wayne Pivac's Wales, trounced by France 21-38. Some good news out of Wales, though. Their lock, Alan Wynne-Jones, he's equalled Richie McCaw's Test record of 148 caps. Now, only 5 Welsh players have reached 100 caps, and he's the only Welshman to have started in more than 100 Tests. 127 starts. That is just incredible.
Alan Wynne-Jones just...
Yeah, he's amazing. I think he's one of those guys that quite understated when he first started playing international football, but he's the guy that works so hard, does that final clean out, that means you get fast ball, you score wide, and an inspirational leader. I think that type of guy, also with the British and Irish Lions, just one of those guys who's annoying, Batesy. You know, he's in rucks, hitting rucks, just annoying everyone, but class act. He's one of those guys that if you didn't notice, you watch the game, you could potentially not notice that he was on the field, but once you play with him, you know he's on the field. He's doing all that stuff that isn't really noticed by some people, and a guy that leads by example. So do as I do, not do as I say. And they're the kind of people, probably like the man up there as well, has probably similar sort of traits, to be fair. Not flashy, but makes an impact. Yeah, now look, that's a good French side as well, right? And but you know, Wayne Pivac will be under pressure, and Alan Wynne-Jones is part of his solution to get it out. These guys need to step back up. You know, the Six Nations this time of year is interesting, isn't it? So, you know, the whole world's upside down. I rang my Italian mates and they just shook their head. So isn't Clive Woodward saying that France are going to win the World Cup? Like, we're a wee way out yet, Clive. No, but I tell you what, they've come off a couple of very good under-20 competitions. They're very good at that age. They brought these players through straight away. At the World Cup, I thought they were unlucky. I think they're going to be really, really good by the time of the World Cup. And it comes back to my stats. They're at home at the World Cup.
There we go.
There you go.
We love a good stat. We love a good stat. Now, Eddie Jones, he won't be too thrilled that the Barbarians game at Twickenham was cancelled because some of the team, they decided to skip room service and opt for a cheeky Italian down the road, JK. Can you really blame them? You know, ravioli, pizza, and the rest.
I actually don't believe that. I do not believe that statement. The Barbars go out 4 nights before the Barbars game. So I don't understand if the pub was open, and if that's not an Italian restaurant, there's beer, there's no wine.
Where's the red wine?
Yeah, exactly. It's like a normal pub. Who said it was Italian? That's why the game's off, because they didn't go Italian. No, but I'm serious. Why? I mean, I don't understand how that game would be called off. If the restaurant was open, what was it, team protocols? And why would you put so much money at risk?
Well, that's the one thing. It's Eddie Jones, he'll be angry, but so will the people who have got the fixture. Cost them $1 million. £1 million. What's that? $3 million.
That's why I don't believe it, because if you went out like that and you're allowed to, unless it was not lockdown or whatever, but wouldn't you just test them and carry on? Why should everyone else?
Well, maybe time's of the essence because it was canned. Over.
Wow.
Finito. What's that in Italian? Finish.
Finito.
Finito. There you go. I'm pretty
Cancellato.
News that another Umanga is about to make his mark internationally. How many are there of them? Jacob Umanga has been named in England's squad for their Six Nations match against Italy. He's Mike's boy, Tana's nephew. He's a first 5, depending, of course, where Owen Farrell plays, and he's still working on his tackling technique. He could potentially get a start. That'd be quite cool news. Interestingly, Umanga plays alongside Jimmy Gopperth at Wasps, who, at the grand age of 37, has been rated the best value import in the history of the English Premiership. That's a huge call. He moved to the UK in 2009. This is his 11th season in Europe, and of course he filled Johnny Wilkinson's huge boots in Newcastle. Best value import?
I haven't worked out if that's a compliment or not.
Rate it or hate it.
No, I haven't worked out whether it's a compliment or not. What does that mean? That he gets paid not enough, and he fronts up every week, or he actually gets paid a lot and I don't know. So where does Charles Piutau and those guys come in?
Yeah. Maybe Charles is awesome, but he's not value for money.
He's a red spot special.
But tell me what value for money is. I don't get it.
I don't know.
2 for 1.
It's a dumb prize. I don't know if you want it or not, you know.
Yeah. Well, he's got it. So there you go. All right, from the international stage to the domestic one, but no less fierce, the Mitre Cup.
A little chip kick over the top, and it's in, and it's all to perfection.
Quick hands intercept. Another intercept. Oh my goodness, somebody's got to get a message.
For David Havili, now it opens up. Just individual brilliance.
You little beauty, James Little.
Jacobson on the charge. Brilliant try.
Bahakolov again. Bahakolov gets a second.
So good. We're 7 rounds in and things aren't slowing down. And the odd curveball tossed in as well. Oh, not entirely true. Things are on the go slow for Canterbury, aren't they? Should we talk about Canterbury?
If you
Too
want.
soon. Rolled and bowled by Bay of Plenty at the weekend. Is it a sign that they're hugely reliant on their All Blacks, or is it purely that maybe Canterbury are the All Blacks?
They're a tough ride home too, Canterbury.
Yeah,
so,
they have.
Yeah, they do. They've got Otago who are going well. Then they've got Tasman, and then they've got Auckland. So, yeah, if you look at that, if you look at the table, they're certainly not out of danger. They can still make the semis, but they're certainly not out of danger.
Oh, I think the interesting thing for me is that, you know, if it was Auckland, people will say, oh, you know, it's okay, or even Wellington, you know, ups and downs, but you just don't see this from Canterbury. So everyone's going, what is actually happening? Why is it so bad? Because they never travel like this in any of the competitions. But I think the other interesting thing for me, Batesy, was the Battle of the Bridge on the weekend, where Auckland got pipped, unfortunately. But, you know, they're also got a reasonable run in. So Canterbury, are they risking relegation? And are Auckland under a little bit of pressure now, heading home?
Let's take a little peek at the table again. It shows that Waikato lead the charge. The Mooloo men at the top of the table. This is, of course, after 7 rounds. Tasman stealth-like in second, hoping to defend their crown. Remember, Tasman are the defending champs, not Canterbury. The blue and white hoops of Auckland, they hover large, as you say, JK. The Battle of the Bridge match by a bitter point. Yeah, they face the Mooloos on Saturday. It's going to be hard. The championship division, the Bay The Magpies retaining the shield with a runaway second half against Manawatu. Jamie Booth, though, out for the season with a terrible, terrible injury, minutes from full time. Such a shame. He surely, lads, would have been eyeing TJ starting Hurricanes jumper, no doubt about it. And really that sums up the championship. Hawke's Bay at the top, Turbos, they cannot buy a win. Really feel for Jamie Booth.
Yeah, he's good. I really like Jamie. I think he's outstanding. But I and hope he has a speedy recovery. He might have a bit, enough time. Who knows? But I think the nice thing, Batesy, about both the championship and the Mitre 10 is that how close it is, and it's like towards the last few weekends you're going, can't really slip up. Like last week I was sitting there, we're safe, Auckland, pretty good, 25 points. Drop one, all of a sudden, there you go.
It's really only Manawatu really that are really struggling. Counties seem to play well for about 60, 65 and then drop off, But yeah, it's certainly a very close competition. The beauty about it is, as a general rule, it's always interesting because that top four, with only 7 teams in each division, the top four is never too far away.
Do you think we're going to see a change in the tides now that the All Blacks are out? Do you think that's going to shift things around?
Oh, no, I don't necessarily think so. Obviously, probably the bigger unions like the Canterburys and the Auckland, it hurts them a little bit more. But in saying that, they're generally the ones with the most depth anyway, so they should be able to take it. But what will start taking a bit of a toll is injuries, because you lose your All Blacks and then you have a couple of injuries and then you do start getting low into your squad numbers.
Have we talked about this before, though, that is that not a chance for the young ones to come up? And sometimes that's all it takes, the opportunity.
We see it right across the board in New Zealand. That happens. You look at Satutu. He starts at the beginning of the year, boom, there he is.
Cullen Grace.
Exactly. So I don't think the All Blacks are an issue. We loved when the All Blacks were playing, but these coaches aren't used to having them around, so they won't be too worried about it. But I think what Batesy said, the trouble is, you start getting a couple of key injuries and then you've got to start managing your squad. Guys start, we've always said this is a sprint. You start coming off the training a wee bit, trying to protect guys, and just sort of snowballs.
Well, you talk about the All Blacks, so you talk about Auckland, Alama, Philo and Craig. Beginning of the year, they think, we'll have Akita, he hasn't been in the All Blacks. We'll have Hoskins, he hasn't been in the All Blacks. They lose those two. Then now they've lost Waimana Redler Cupping as well. So they've lost him. So already they're down to number 4. You know what I mean? That's when it sort of starts to bite a little bit, when you're not expecting to have to go that deep. But in saying that, as I said, teams like that generally have a bigger depth pool to pull from.
They'll be looking for some R&R at the end of a very bruising Mitre 10. Now, speaking of R&R, you'd think it's almost a prerequisite for a rugby player to also have a passion for golf. It's not a hardship for the boys to indulge in 18 holes, especially when it's for a great cause. Goldie, Cully, Marshy and a few of the boys gloved up and teed off for the New Zealand Rugby Foundation.
We're at Parapara Umu Links golf course on the Kapiti Coast. Just running a golf tournament to raise money for the Rugby Foundation for seriously injured players.
The New Zealand Rugby Foundation was put together to support injured rugby players, and we're called VIPs, very injured players.
Anyone for $100,000, I sell them, hit it side.
Well, at the start of the day, I think it was 10 or 12 of us were put up for auction, and companies who had agreed to come and already play had an opportunity to bid for the likes of myself and Marshy and Olo Brown and the opportunity to be in, and we'll play for them, spend the day with them and have a beer, enjoy the round, and hopefully we can contribute. So, like I say, some very, very generous people.
Get in!
Ian Kirkpatrick, Joe Stanley's here, Mike Brewer's also here, and Nima Tialata's here as well. He's brought his wine to the course, which is always a good thing. It spans all different decades, so we'll have a few beers tonight and reminisce about times gone by.
We normally get together once a year. Normally it's for a test match, but golf's another good excuse to get together on a game of golf and a few beers. Get that on video.
Majority of the time you go play golf, it's to spend good quality time with mates and swear at your swing, your shots.
What's really good is it gives the people that are playing with you an opportunity to ask the questions that sometimes they're sitting on the couch wondering. Like they asked me, one of the first questions was, 81 tests, what'd you do with all your jerseys? And I was like, yeah, actually, what did I do with all my jerseys?
Yeah, it's great that all the celebs come out and support such a great cause. Every dollar, that's raised really makes a difference for us VIPs.
That is it. Oh! Yeah!
Northland's home. Dad played for Northland, uncles played for Northland. Just wanted to come home, and if there was going to be a chance for me to play for Northland, I was going to play for Northland. I had teams like Bay Plenty and counties and all that trying to see if I was going to play for them, but I just figured, home's got a team, I've got to come home.
It's really nice that Portia's at home and even kind of following the same path that we had done in the 80s. I really, really love it.
I think being a Kiwi in New Zealand, rugby is around you no matter what. You don't have to be playing it, and your family probably don't even need to be doing it at all, but it's in your life no matter what. And so, but with our family, it is in our blood, and it runs through all our veins. Boys, girls, aunties, uncles, everyone is involved with rugby. Dad was very passionate about rugby. By the time I came around, he had finished with North Auckland, but he was playing for Glenfield Grizzlies, Golden Oldies, and I think, just watching Dad play was incredible, and I could only imagine what he was like back in the day. Knowing my dad had been in the All Blacks, my uncle had been in the All Blacks, and multiple Māori All Blacks in the family, I just was like, yeah, rugby's mean. I just remember watching Jonah Lomu run over the English in '95 World Cup.
He's handed off his opposite. Lomu!
I remember watching it and going, Dad, I want to be the female version of Jonah Lomu. And Dad was like, okay, bub. Never really paid any attention to it, and neither did I really.
That idea of being like Jonah Lomu, I said, yeah, sure, darling, you can do that, thinking, yeah, I'm not too sure how that's going to look.
Portia Woodman, you're killing me! Portia Woodman, over the halfway line. Good night, good luck, and see you next time. Woodman, she's got game.
Like Portia said, the passion of rugby in our family feels the pride watching Portia play. I talk to my friends that we played for North Auckland back in the 80s, and they go, oh my gosh, that girl's just like you and Fred. She's just so cool. And, it's something I had never really thought about. I just thought, oh, Portia's my daughter, and she's a good player and things. But so it's really nice. Because of our connection, it's like, oh, well, that's our girl. Portia playing for Taitokerau now. It's very much homecoming and an opportunity to express herself with the Northland team. I keep saying North Auckland, but Northland team.
1, 2, 3, 3!
Portia Woodman, determined run. Portia Woodman inside the first defender, inside the second, but 2 others along the way. Beautiful pass, lovely hole running for Portia Woodman. Portia Woodman is power. Foot race to the try line, and it's try number 5. Woodman, try number 6. There it is.
Six tries in that match. She has got the footwork, she's got the fend, she's a superstar, and she's got the pedigree, JK, because you mark Dad.
Yeah, Kawhina and both Fred and Kawhina were outstanding rugby players, real competitors, used to hate going up north. Kawhina especially had great angles, really tough. Defensively, had outside break as well. So, but I actually just love Portia. I really enjoy watching her play. I think she's one of the most outstanding wings in both male and female. I think she's just amazing, and she's been injured for a wee while, but it's great to see her back, and I'm really looking forward to seeing her at the next level.
It's quite cool how she's gone home as well, and they had the Northland woman, the Coldie, they had a pretty good season this season too, knocked over a few big guns as well, and a few of them went home, and it is quite nice to see, and that was sort of the growth that was in that Farah, I know she's got the final this weekend, but the growth that was in that Farah Palmer Cup this year.
Amazing. Well, Portia Woodman has been nominated at the World Rugby Awards for Player of the Decade, not just in the sevens game, but the 15s as well, plus the best try in the 15s. And of course, the winners will be announced at a virtual ceremony on December the 7th. And the best part is it's a fan vote, so everyone gets to have a say. So what are you waiting for? All right, well, it is all locked in. The finalists for the Farah Palmer Cup grand finale this weekend. Waikato, who have never won a title, they'll meet three-time defending champs Canterbury in Christchurch on Saturday. Now, this is where it gets good. Canterbury may be the defending champs and undefeated this season, but Waikato unbeaten too. Stakes just got higher, didn't they? Alana Bremner and Chelsea Alley, the respective captains, they join us. Two teams unbeaten. How are the nerves going, Alana?
Yeah, a little bit nervous, but the team's just really excited to get out there for the final. And obviously, as captain this year, there's a bit of nerves for me, but I'm just really excited.
Waikato has been an absolute revelation this year. What has been the difference?
Yeah, for us, we've had an awesome season. I think it's been a combination of a few different things. We've got a new coaching team in, so we're doing a great job. We've got a lot of young school girls, and then we've been lucky enough to get quite a few of the sevens girls, and we've got players back in and a bit more experience with the likes of Hohepa coming back in. So, yeah, we've built a pretty good culture and it's showing on the field.
Chelsea, how do you prepare for something that you've never prepared for before? I mean, you're going to change stuff this week, trying to keep things the same. How do you do that? Bit easier for the Cantabrians, they've been there before, but for you guys, it's going to be a big week.
Yeah, exactly. And it is a shorter turnaround as well, which we haven't experienced. But yeah, we've a lot of the local things, but apart from that, nothing with the we realise it's the final, and we just get better and carry on with them.
Oh, we must be in the Waikato Peat Basin with the sound dropping out there a little bit. Alana, Canterbury really have cruised through the southern pool. Do you think you've had the tune-up you need before a big final?
Yeah, the game last weekend really tested us. Auckland, they came down and super physical, and it was definitely one of the hardest games we'd had. We were blowing by the 80th minute. But I think we knew who we were playing from that round one. So each week we just focused on what we needed to and getting better each round, which I think we've done. But yeah, it'll be a different game this weekend. Obviously, finals footy's always different, and it will definitely be a challenge.
Alana, I'm going to ask you ladies both the same question. Alana, just spill the beans. Why are you going to win this weekend?
You know, we've done it 3 times before. I think we know what we're doing now. So fourth time, I reckon we've got it in the bag.
Okay, Chelsea, she played it pretty coy. Your midfield is devastating. You're part of it, so don't be afraid to, brag a little bit. How are you going to tear them apart this weekend?
Oh, look, I think we've got threats all across the field and we're going to use them. Yeah, we're going down there to win. We've got that mindset. So I just think, yeah, anyone watching the game this weekend is going to see some pretty awesome rugby being displayed.
Chelsea, your coach James Semple has said, make no mistake, we want a title. We're not here as placeholders. How much belief is there in the team?
Yeah, there's a huge amount. We spoke about it at training tonight. Waikato have been in the competition in and out since 1992 and have never, ever won a title. So it's our chance this year to create a bit of a legacy in Waikato rugby and create some history. So, yeah, there's that we're playing for as well. It's more fire for the field, and there's definitely a lot of belief among our team.
I'll answer. I see Batesy has done it, so I'm going to follow and ask you both the same question. Absolutely funny season, COVID, disruptive, but what have been some of the positives that have come out of it for both of you as captains and teams?
I guess we've played some teams we've never played before in the Southern Pool. You know, we haven't played them for a few years, so it's been pretty cool to play the likes of Otago and Tasman. And also just, I guess, the start of the season was quite slow, but we connected a lot through Zoom and everything. And, yeah, it's been challenging, but I think the way the girls have got through it and now we've got rugby to play, I'm just super grateful for the opportunity.
Alana, you've just bought your first house. Oh, sorry, interrupting. You've just bought your first house. What's more daunting, moving house or trying to get a championship win?
Yeah, well, the mortgage is probably the most daunting part, but yeah, no, I think the girls are all pumped up for the weekend and everyone's really excited. So the nerves haven't really started coming yet, but I'm sure they will.
Chelsea, let's just talk about the Farah Palmer Cup as a whole, not just the final. What about, how have you found the standard this year? You've got the Sevens girls around, the Black Ferns are obviously there. Is it potentially, because of the Sevens girls around, been the most sort of highest standard you've seen, or are you still growing? How have you seen it this year?
Yeah, look, to go back to the question, like the positives around, COVID thing and all that, there's been quite a few for us. For me personally, like I haven't been at a Waikato FPC camp, which usually falls around the August. It's part of the year where we're touring with Black Ferns. I haven't been at one of those for 4 or 5 years, so just to be there from the beginning of the season with the girls was really cool. It was a massive part of building our culture. And then, like you said, for all of the Black Ferns 7 and 15 girls made available for FPC this year to have the best women's rugby players in the country playing in this competition has just taken the competition to a whole nother level. And I think the positive with that is, other countries watching from around the world are seeing some of the best rugby being played because we have access to all of those players. So, yeah, it's been good. And, yeah, I definitely think that this is the best competition we've seen so far in FPC.
We absolutely cannot wait. Canterbury on the hunt for their 4th successive title. Waikato looking to put some new ink in the FPC history books. It's going to be a brilliant clash. Neither team beaten all season. That is going to change for one this weekend. Thank you, ladies. That live on Sky Sport. All right, we want to extend our love and heartfelt wishes to Jeff and his family. It's been a really tough week. Our araha with you, Jeff, and we look forward to seeing you back in studio soon. Good night. Mate wa.
Please congratulate them once more for the 3rd straight time. Canterbury.
When the fight goes down.
Every year we just seem to get better and better.
I'll be standing strong.
Finals footy is always going to be a battle right to the end like that. And we know we're going to have to be blooming clinical against Canterbury.
Very proud to be in a team that has such rich history.
And Alana Bremner. Nelly's so strong. What a start for Waikato.
Just the culture we've built over the years.
A try, is that a hat trick?
We have a winning culture, which is really good to be a part of. Pause up and keep cracking.
Thank you so much for the support all season, guys. This one's for you.
Represent the North well.
We will, thank you. Can't wait for next week.